This is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host. Today I wanted to talk to you about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X, really primarily about Malcolm X. And of course, everybody's very knows about the very famous book written by Alex Haley. Alex Haley wrote this book in cooperation with the late Malcolm X. And that book I'm referring to is obviously the autobiography of Malcolm X. Now, that is not the definitive book on Malcolm X. The autobiography of Malcolm X is not the definitive book of Malcolm X. The best book ever written about Malcolm X is by the late Dr. Manning Marable. And I'm not sure of the title. I've read parts of it. I know I had Manning Marable come to my campus when I was student government president at Berea College. I brought Manning Marable to campus as a speaker. I spent many hours with him talking extensively about black folk in America, socialism, Marxist thinkers, black nationalist thinkers. And then I kept in touch with him on and off throughout the years, including the time he was at Columbia University. So I have a tremendous respect for Dr. Manning Marable. He was a Marxist, and I guess you might say a Marxist / black nationalist. I mean, he knew, his knowledge of the history of black folk in the United States of America, and really around the world, is just, that man was amazing. He was just amazing. To call him an intellectual is not enough. And the guy was just amazing. But anyway, let me get back to this. My original point is I wanted to talk about Malcolm X. And here's the one thing I wanted to say about Malcolm X. Today you got a lot of these black radicals. They want to talk about Malcolm X this and Malcolm X that. And they show Malcolm X with this rifle peering out a window. Because as you know, his house at one time was firebombed. He was attacked. It's not clear who attacked him. We don't know if it was the Ku Klux Klan or maybe some rogue element within the local New York state government, or if it's somebody within the Nation of Islam or just some independent nut jobs out there. But one thing I want to make this real quick comment. A lot of these black radicals, they love showing Malcolm with that picture of Malcolm with that weapon. Then they'll turn right back around and they're opposed to what is it? The First Amendment, the Constitution, where it says that citizens have the right to bear arms. Of course, you got locally, we got these little Negro radicals like that. We need to ban guns. We need to ban guns. Then they have some idiot, some anti-gun activist take a gun, walk into a building, broad daylight, and shoot at one of the mayoral candidates. He's an anti-gun advocate. And here's how certain elements within the Louisville Urban League responded. Yeah, that's right. That's the way they responded. Didn't criticize the man, condemn the man. Hey, that was wrong what he did. Black Lives Matter. Didn't condemn the violence, which I find that very suspect. Didn't condemn the violence. Didn't acknowledge the contradiction. Understand that. Make that real clear. I didn't hear anything, the condemning of the violence, no public statement from the NAACP, neither. Now, if I'm wrong, show me I'm wrong. Send me the public statement where they condemn that violence unconditionally. I don't know. Show it to me. Where was it published in the Louisville Defender? Was it reported in WLKY radio? But anyway, let me not get off the track too much. The point is, these black radicals, they love showing that kind of picture of Malcolm, but they themselves, they want to deny other Americans their constitutional right to bear arms. We have a constitutional right to bear arms, and we should keep that constitutional right. And of all folks who should uphold that, is black folk. It's black folk. Man, when they went after King Jr.'s house, King Jr. didn't say, "Oh, I'm not gonna arm myself in self-defense." If he did, show it to me. If he did say that, show that to me. Malcolm X definitely didn't do that. Okay? There are many examples of black families who beat back white, racist, fascist mobs. They were coming towards their house. They were threatening their house with violence and terrorism. And black families had weapons and they shot back. And those people scattered. All Americans, in particular black Americans, should support the constitutional right to bear arms. When you have these crazy white boys standing up there talking about, oh, we're going to come take your gun. You're going to come take your gun. You can come. You can try. But I tell you what, this colored boy, he's going to shoot back. You ain't taking my gun. And I want you to take the gun of anybody else in this country, black or white, because we have a constitutional right to bear arms. Black folk need to be in the forefront of supporting the constitutional right to bear arms. We of all people should know how important that right is. You got a bunch of nut jobs, some nutty mob coming towards you, and you're going to be standing there unarmed because some silly punk, a progressive, woke, white liberal wants your gun taken away from you, and then brags about taking it away from you, then talks about taking your constitutional right away from you. Please. You're going somewhere. I know my history. I know my history. And that's why I stand, uphold the U.S. Constitution. And I support, 1, the right to bear arms, and 2, freedom of speech. Oh, yes, I'm with that. 100%. Say it again. Say it louder for the idiots in the back row who are usually affiliated with the Democratic Party. But let me tell you something. I have not met one Republican Party member in Louisville, Kentucky, who's ever said to me, black people need to disarm. They shouldn't go out and legally buy arms to defend themselves. And not one of them. Here's what they have said to me. Man, shoot, the right to bear arms? Heck yeah, that's for everybody. Black, white, for everybody. Now, let me say this, though. I really meant to talk about Malcolm X. Folks, let me tell you something about Malcolm X. Where was he when he first received information about the Nation of Islam? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. Who introduced that information to him? Those are 2 questions you need to address. Secondly, after Malcolm X received that information, how much longer was it before he was released from prison? Why was Malcolm X in prison? There's 2 more questions you need to ask. And then once Malcolm X emerged from prison, actually by that time he's still Malcolm Little, right? Once Malcolm Little emerged from prison, how did the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad treat him? What did they do for him? These are important questions. And how long was Malcolm X in the Nation of Islam before he broke from the Nation of Islam? And what did he accomplish during that time period he was with the Nation of Islam? Okay? Write these questions down and start addressing them. Write these questions. These questions are important. Write these questions down. You see, the black radicals, the black anti-Americans, they don't want you to ask questions. They don't want you to think. They don't want you to engage in critical thinking, analytical thinking. They don't want you to do that. They're into indoctrination, not education. I'm trying to educate you. And I'm also going to tell you what my biases are. I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm not going to join the Nation of Islam. I'm a conservative, political conservative, and I'm an evangelical Christian. And I'm telling you, if you have any heart for uplifting the black community in the United States of America, one thing you need to do is study the Nation of Islam and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm not saying agree with them, folks, but I am saying you need to study them. You need to check them out. You need to do some research. Okay? And all those questions I just put up to you about Malcolm, you need to check those. You need to check those questions out. You need to check them out. All right? I'm going to say some other things, but not in this podcast. But some of the things I'm going to say, whoa, people are not going to like it, but I don't care. It's important we have these types of discussions. Here's the last thing I want to say. There's a real good book out there on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I think it's called The Original Man or An Original Man. It's probably one of the most definitive, scholarly books ever written by Elijah Muhammad, who was formerly Elijah Poole. You need to check that book out. Elijah Muhammad, he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing figure. Now, of course, I didn't agree with a lot of his theology, all of his theology, really, and a lot of his politics, but I learned a lot from him. And you can too. All right, this is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host. Go to my website, booktalkwithcorbin.com. Check it out. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I need some more subscribers. I don't care if you like me or not, agree with me or not. I'm not putting at the YouTube channel on this podcast and ask you to agree with everything I said. Heck, I want us to engage in intelligent back and forth discussion. Okay? All right. Check me out. Book Talk with Corbin. Thank you.